King Kong from 1933. This is a long overdue movie review. It's an old classic, and it's a treat to get to watch this one again. I'm finally getting around to doing my review of this, and there's just so much that could be said about this film. Well, as far as the story goes, it's New York, it's 1933. We have the character Carl Denham, played by Robert Armstrong, who is kind of this cheesy showman and filmmaker, and, maybe a tad shifty, but he's kind of I would say one of the main characters of the film. He's hired a bunch of sailors to take him out for a movie shoot, but before he can go, he needs a lead actress. And he finds unemployed actress Ann Darrow, who's played by the lovely Fay Wray. And, she's, unemployed, hungry, she's trying to steal an apple. Well, Carl finds her, pays the grocer, and then buys her some food and tries to convince her to join him on this trip as a lead actress. And, she's a little suspicious at first, but agrees to go. They set sail on the Venture, a steamer boat. The ship's first mate is Jack Driscoll, played by Bruce Cabot. I think he was in McLintock with John Wayne, if I'm remembering correctly. And you can see he has a romantic interest in Anne. Well, on the way, Carl practices filming on the deck with Anne. He's giving her some instructions, full of foreshadowing, of course, about looking up and screaming in terror. Oh, well, plenty of that will happen once we get to the island. Just wait. Well, the boat arrives at this mysterious destination, and the group of 12 sailors make their way to shore. And notably, the Max Steiner music throughout all of this film is amazing, but I really like this moment here. It's a very subdued, creepy music that builds the suspense of the scene. On shore, they notice a giant wall with a group of natives. They're dancing in front of it, and there's a giant door as well, reminiscent of Jurassic Park. In fact, there's quite a few elements throughout this film that probably were a big inspiration for Spielberg later on, and I'll get to those. The natives communicate with these visitors, and the captain is able to speak their language. And what the natives say is they want Anne for a sacrifice to Kong. But, of course, the captain says no. Well, back on the ship, there's a very awkward, brief romantic scene with Driscoll and Anne, where he professes his love, but when he's called away by the captain, and Anne is left there in a dreamy state, the natives have crept up to the boat, and they capture her and take her away. And when the crew realizes she's missing, they head off to get her. Now, the natives, meanwhile, open the giant doors and tie up Anne between two posts. And again, great Max Steiner music at this scene. And the natives basically play their drums, and soon Kong is summoned, and he's on the way. And what an introduction. That first scene and that close-up of his face is just the greatest. So Kong grabs Anne and heads out. And the explorers, they have arrived at the island again, and they follow his trail. They're following the massive footprints. And before they get very far, they're charged by a giant stegosaurus. And it takes a lot of shots to bring that one down. And, some good stop-motion effects. I'll be talking about those throughout this review. But all of these creatures, they just look great for the time. And they move on. And there's also some great, lush jungle sets. Everything looks great about this film. They go rafting across some water, and soon there's another dinosaur attack. This brontosaurus-looking thing smashes their raft and chomps down on a few of these guys. And yeah, I know the sauropod family of dinosaurs was supposedly vegetarian, but who cares? It's a great scene. So the surviving guys make it to shore. And, again, many of these swampy shores and a lot of the sets, they looked familiar to me, especially because I recently did a review of The Most Dangerous Game from 1932, which I read used many of the same set locations. In fact, Fay Wray and Robert Armstrong were both in that film as well. And that was a good film, too. It's worth checking out. Well, they catch up with Kong, and man, does he take care of these guys. He knocks them off a log, down to their death in a cavern, and it's kind of gruesome. I think he picks off about 12 of them or so. And one guy, though, manages to survive, and that's Driscoll, because he's able to hide out in kind of the nook of a cavern, and Kong can't quite reach him. So Kong keeps reaching for him, gives up, but Anne, who Kong left behind in a tree, starts screaming because wouldn't you know it, here comes a T-Rex. And then we get down to this epic fight. The new Kong vs. Godzilla film has nothing on this. I mean, man, Kong just lays into the T-Rex and lets him have it. What a fight. And as you can guess, Kong wins, of course. It's almost like watching an old school professional wrestling match. You got to see this one. Well, Kong's done with his fight, grabs Ann, and he heads out again. Now, Driscoll makes it out of his hiding cave, and across the divide, he sees Carl, who somehow managed to survive. I thought he had died, but no, he's fine. And Driscoll tells him to go back to the boat, tell the man, get some explosives, and then he's going to go head off and rescue Ann. So back with the others, Carl gives the updates and rallies them to find some explosives to work with. Kong, meanwhile, retreats to a massive, amazing-looking cave. He sets Ann down and, turn your back for a minute, and there's suddenly a giant snake monster thing attacking. Now, the guy just can't get a break, but he beats up the creature and then heads to the top of the cave out to an open area. And it's here that he, kind of studies Ann and even tries to tickle her. I think it's kind of weird. She continues to scream, and of course, you can guess, Fay Wray screams a lot through this film, understandably. So Driscoll is in pursuit. He's into the cave, and Kong turns his back for just a minute when a pterodactyl swoops down to grab Ann. Well, Kong fights with it, and this is right as Driscoll arrives and rescues Ann. They climb down a vine. They almost get away, but Kong, who's finished his smackdown of the pterodactyl, sees him getting away and pulls the vine back up. And at the last minute, they both jump off the vine, land in some water to swim away, and Kong is really annoyed. So they're on the run through the jungle to get away. And I love the use of that camera effect where it sort of follows them as they're running towards you and the camera's moving as well. They use the same effect in The Most Dangerous Game, and it looks great here as well. They get back to the boat. Carl throws out the silly idea of returning with Kong, but hey, no time to discuss. Here he is, in pursuit. He smashes through those giant doors. Natives are running everywhere, and man, Kong goes crazy. He's like chomping on them, and at one point, he's smashing natives under his feet. I mean, it's gruesome. And like I keep saying, to an audience of the 1930s, this was probably pretty creepy. And, the dated effects, I get it. But remember, this is before CGI. And, I try to imagine, what was it like to be a kid in the movie theater watching this? So, getting closer to the shore, the explorers nail Kong with a gas bomb, and boom, down he goes. And, I love hearing the Carl character. He's just so over the top. He's like, we're millionaires, boys. I'll share it with all of you. And he has big, grandiose plans to bring Kong back to America. Because, nothing could possibly go wrong with that idea. Kong, the eighth wonder of the world, he proclaims, What a cheeseball. Well, we make a very quick cut. Suddenly, we're back in the United States. Everybody is getting ready for the Kong show. We're in the city, all these wealthy people are showing up, the press is there, they're asking questions. And soon enough, it's showtime. Carl walks out on stage, he gives his introduction, and then everyone finally gets to see Kong as the curtains open up. And he's all chained up on the stage. He introduces Ann and Driscoll as well, as they're part of the story. And Kong is there, and he's just looking furious. Well, as the press keeps flashing those camera lights, Kong can't take it anymore, and he breaks free. And it's chaos. He breaks out of the building, everyone's running away, lots of screaming, and he starts climbing a building. And at one point, he reaches in, grabs a woman, and just drops her to the ground. Oh, and 80s kid here, but I can't help but be reminded of the arcade game I used to play, Rampage, where you could play as, a giant ape, climbing buildings, smashing your fist into windows and grabbing people to eat them. I mean, it was... I love to see the influence for that particular game and how it all started from this film here. And I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Back to the film. Kong's climbing the building. He finds Ann in a room and he grabs her. You see the massive ape arm come in the window. And soon he's on his way. And oh, you know where. He's off to the top of the Empire State Building. What an amazing sequence. And they send out the fighter planes as Kong is on his way. It just looks so good. This stuff is legendary, the special effects going on here. He's standing on the top of the Empire State Building, pounding his chest, and those planes come flying in, shooting at him. And, usually with my reviews, I just rant and rave about films and why I enjoy them. And normally I don't spill any spoilers, but you probably know by now how this one ends. It doesn't go too well for Kong, and we all know that classic final line, It was beauty, killed the beast. So, great stuff. I mean, so much praise can be given to this film. I mean, the pioneering stop-motion special effects by Willis O'Brien, the extraordinary Max Steiner soundtrack, the over-the-top acting performance of Robert Armstrong and the lovely Fay Wray. And, reading the Internet Movie Database, going through the trivia, it's just a goldmine of fascinating facts and information about this film. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I watch it and I try to see it through the eyes of like a 1930s viewer. Today we're so spoiled by CGI and all of the robotics and all the effects. This film would have been incredible to see in the 30s. I mean, you would be in the theater, your mind would just be blown. The effects are probably one of the biggest stars of this film. And you can see Kong's fur through the film, how it appears to move and ripple constantly. And that's basically it's showing where the animators had been touching and moving the model. No computers, no robotics, just handcrafted special effects. It's just so good. Max Steiner's fully symphonic score is brilliant. And darn YouTube won't let me play any clips I've tried in the past without hitting me with copyright claims. So all I'm going to say is this. Go out and Google Max Steiner's King Kong score. It's just so amazing. It's got the loud symphonic segments, but also those subdued, creepy musical passages when they get near the island. This was an epic soundtrack. And let's not forget, Max Steiner also scored Casablanca, so that just adds to his legendary status. Okay, I could ramble on, and truthfully, there's just so much that's been written about this film already. I mean, just reading about it in the AFI summary, it was just overwhelming. So go out, find a copy of the film if you haven't seen it already. If you have, go watch it again. It's a remarkable classic from 1933. It's inspirational, clearly, to so many filmmakers who would follow. So many future monster movies and dinosaur films that clearly drew their inspiration from this. It's just so groundbreaking in its special effects. It's an incredible movie. It's totally worth checking out.